Hello hockey fans, my name is David. Thought I would start this video at 12:40 on the morning of Friday 30th of December 2022, North American Eastern Time. It's hard to believe that this day is the second last of 2022 in the Eastern Time Zone. Before I get into the dreadful performance of the Toronto Maple Leafs against the Coyotes, just going to just try to pull it up. Oops. Kind of like a screen freeze. I'll do it a little bit later. So what I don't do in the meantime is just get out the... Just going to get out in the meantime another method. Tried like that laptop does, so it's an old one. Alright, let's just go to... Let's just go to the goals. That's really what I'm looking for. Yeah. Third period, the Leafs truly fell apart. At no point in the game taking a lead of more than a goal. Even worse, the defense just utterly sucked. Of course, when it comes to getting messages across, in an episode of CP24 Morning News on Thursday Eastern Time, the host, Georgia Janis, brought up an interesting point about whether the Canadian under-20 men's team had gotten a message after a 5-2 loss at the 2023 top division tournament to the Czechia team to play a lot better defensively. Well, last two games, there's clearly evidence that Canadian team did. It did help, of course, that the Germans just utterly collapsed. Although I was concerned initially after Nikita Kwap had shut down the Swedish attack for the most part, allowing only one goal, even though the Germans didn't help their own keeper out very much. I was nervous. Maybe the German coaching staff, the coaching staff of the German team would use Kwap again, and he would do some damage to the Canadian team instead of 11-2. Instead of the 11-2 win the Canadian team would end up getting, it could have been a lot closer, and that was the scary part. Now it's a day with the Swedish team on New Year's Eve Eastern Time over at the Scotiabank Centre in Halifax, and for a chance to finish higher than third in Group A. But I think it'd be important to win. I look forward to that. After all, Canadians didn't really get off to a really good start. Again, if the Canadians manage to play the same way they did against the Germans and Austrians, I see a very good chance of a win, even if that win comes in overtime or a shootout. But play like, oh my goodness, the Leafs did against the Coyotes, all bets will be off. So I thought I would just also recap on the scores. Just going to try that. So when it comes to the scores, it was kind of a mixed night for Canadian teams. I mean, I look at the Canucks, look at the Jets, end up winning their game. Sens won theirs in overtime, and Canucks lost theirs by a couple goals. The Habs ended up losing another game by 5 goals. Leafs ended up having a dreadful third period. All Coyotes, when the Leafs could have scored that extra goal, put up 2 have a 2-goal lead, and avoid what happened. And to anyone who claims that blame should not fall on GM Dubas or President Shanahan of the Leafs, I say this. This team has been an embarrassment. Leafs have not performed well against the Coyotes in the cap era. So I went over to one of the post-game shows on YouTube, Coyotes post-game shows, and interesting point made up by one of the hosts. I don't know what it was, when it was, but no doubt about this. That the Leafs had not won in their own building against the Coyotes at any point during the cap era, during the salary cap era. It hasn't been exactly easy either. Just going to try to go to Twitter about the. The Leafs are going to have to play a hell of a lot better against the Stanley Cup champion Avs, because make no mistakes, the Leafs are going to play the same way against the Coyotes, against the Avs, as they did against the Yotes. Oh boy, are the Leafs going to be in trouble. So I thought I would do. So I did. Because when I would like to have believed I'm just going to go through the statistics here. So let's see. I do apologize here. I'm just going to, let's see. Alright, here. Let me just try more here. Let me just try here. I'm just gonna. Gonna say, okay, we're winning today. Look at all these stats. That! Oops, sorry about that. Okay, I'm gonna go here. Just gonna. Sorry about that. You see all these stats. Alright, let me just go to here. Just give me a moment here. Look at this. Are these, did I have a lot of hope? Nope. I sure didn't. Alright, so let's just. Oops. Sorry for that. Just gonna. So let's see the not so good record against the Coyotes during the Matthews era. Well, we can, on wins and regulation, overtime, and shootout losses, the Leafs are against the Coyotes 4-6-1-1, including in the 2020s 1-3-1-0. That's right. the Leafs have only won one game against the Coyotes since having drafted Austin Matthews first overall, and that was in 2016. It's clear the Leafs defense has to play a lot better. PK was an absolute disaster. Power play wasn't so bad, but the PK was a disaster. I hope that Sheldon Keefe, will put the Leafs through his paces. I'd certainly do so if I were him. I sent a message to these guys. Put them through, skating drills, battle and positional strength drills, to send a message to the Leafs that the efforts, defensively, against the Blues, despite a win in overtime, and against the Coyotes, the regulation loss, will not do. And I have a message for Kyle Dubas. If you think your team's okay, think again. There may be talk about whether there should be a trade with Morgan that involves defenseman Morgan Riley. To me, it's simple. There needs to be an overall improvement. And I think, it's everything to say, oh, we should throw that game in the rubbish bin. But it's not enough to do that. The Leafs have to learn from that game and understand the time to start tightening up defensively is now, not later. To Dubas and Shanahan, to Dubas sites out, to pro-Dubas, pro-Shanahan supporters, in terms of the way they're doing it, regular season means only so much. And this is a threat. If this starts a slump, like what the Senators went through earlier in the season, I believe it was a 7-game losing streak, Canucks, or even the Calgary Flames, late October to early last month, then the Leafs are in big trouble. The question is where the bottom is for the Leafs. They need to start to do so, and that's going to be the narrative. I believe that on Friday's editions on the Toronto Sportsnet radio station, the Fan 590, of its morning show, and of the afternoon Rio Kipper and Bourne one, if there is a broadcast that, we're going to talk about the Leafs and how badly they played against the Coyotes. I also believe there's going to be coverage of that on the shows put out by Toronto radio station TSN 1050. On its morning show, First Up 1050, its lunchtime show, Leafs Lunch 1050, and its late afternoon show, Overdrive 1050. I'm not sure who the hosts of Overdrive are going to be, because last time I checked, Jeff O'Neill was in Halifax with the local intermission coverage crew that included James Duffy, Bob McKenzie, and one-time Olympian Cheryl Pounder. But of course, there's lots of fun to be had. I'm looking forward to hopefully Canada getting into the medal round, into the semifinals, but there are 2 more games to go before that happens. And I hope both of them will be wins, but it's not going to be easy. On that note, I'm going to say, go Canada, go, and go Leafs, go.